gets it and you got warm blood in your system, it gets into that, then it grows big time. And it could easily cause deaths, and it could, especially little kids, well, even big kids, and it could cause a lot of major problems, and that scares me to death to think about some kids down there end up getting sick before anybody realized who would even think of fecal coliform until the kid maybe is no longer with us. And it just bothers me, and I'm kind of upset at some of the politicians who at least never wrote me back and say, hey, we'll see what we can do or whatever, except like I say, Ray Hall. And it is dangerous. It really is. It is dangerous. And the one thing is, a lot of people, well, if you work with water treatment, you take care of fecal coliform by putting chlorine in the water. Even sewer plants, you've got to put chlorine to kill that fecal before it even goes into the river. If you're not, you're in federal violation. So it's that important a thing. And but you couldn't use chlorine in the well like that because it had to be fed in constantly, and you'd have to feed it at a strong amount that you couldn't hardly drink the water. Plus, you wouldn't have the detention time. Chlorine has to have enough detention to kill the bacteria, and you just couldn't do that. And if you had a big tank out there, maybe a 50,000 gallon tank, maybe do that, but once it goes through, then you put it back in, and they're using it in and out. You never had the detention time, so it's just not going to work. About the only way in the world that I would feel safe is if they had a private system up there. And what surprises me, you have about 35 homes in there, and they're, you throw a rock almost from Route 10 across the river to them, and then on the other end, they've got water down there, and you come up, go down a little road there, so it's pretty well circled with the Logan County PSD water, but nobody seems to have much attention for that over in there. It's not only, like I say, it's not only the church camp, but it's also all those homes over there. And those people, they're not happy. I stopped and talked to them, and I had to tell them right up front that, hey, I'm not responsible. I'm just trying to get this steady, because they're not happy people, and I can understand that. And, I know I grew up on a place called Mill Creek, and had an old hand dug well and all that, and we later on we got really important. We got a drill well, and we put up with that. But it's a different situation than it is with all those people, and especially with that river right there. It's some of those houses have wells up on the hill, and they could still get some well, not fecal, but other various things in their well. But down on that river, several homes down there, he could easily get in. And especially like this church camp, when they use, oh gosh, they may use 1,000 gallon water a day. When that well, I know it's sealed and all that, but the water has to come in the bottom. And when it is used a whole lot at once, it would create a vacuum, could easily suck it right out of that river, and Lord knows what you're going to get into in the Guyandotte River. Well, about any of them, to tell you the truth. And so it's every time I get involved with it, I just worry. I wouldn't want adults to die with fecal either, but kids would be more acceptable, of course. And there's a little kid down there, 6 years old, and they're going to drink the water and everything else, and it just worries me. It just worries me.
Okay, well, we appreciate you coming, and let us look at this, what he brought, and we'll.
I didn't hear you.
I said, we appreciate you coming,
okay.
and let us look at this, what he brought, and then we'll get back.
Sure. Sure. I have. I think that letter that I think Rocky gave you one of them that I had. I read that I guess a couple of years ago. I've done a pretty good study on it, and like I say, I listed all the politicians that I sent it to. The only one that actually returned it was Nick Gilray.
And I think you're right. Having been a physician at the Hearts Clinic as well as down West Hamlin, having dealt with Guyandotte River. When I first came back here, when I was young, we lived down in the Denver River, and we had a hand dug well, and we always had a big chub we kept in there, so to keep all the mosquitoes and everything eat out of it, stuff like that. But one of the things I noticed coming back and being a physician was the fact that I didn't think a lot of our problems that we were seeing with our births, as far as congenital abnormalities and things like that was related so much. You hear so much about how all us hillbillies interbreed and things like that. I felt it was much more likely to the toxicity in the rivers from different things that were being put in the rivers
Yeah,
up above.
oh, yeah.
And since in the last 16 years I've been on it, we've gotten water to a lot of different places, but this has been one of the places that, it hasn't been served. I think, whether you got it up West Fork or East Fork, whichever way you wanna call it. I think some people call it West Fork, some people call it East Fork. And then that Big Hearts to all those little hollers up there,
Right.
which Logan was willing to do. I mean, they were the ones that did most of that and stuff, and we come through them, but I'm sure that, what needs to be done, we'll look at this and see, but, the question is whether you come up from down on Hart Street there, or when you come across the river there.
Right.
And a lot of times, when you get in situations like that, it may be cheaper to go across the river.
Well, I think probably so too. You go on down, where you get on the main road down there, the water is there, but that river, of course, it costs a lot of money to put a line in across the river because it's a lot of specs. Used to, you could do it fairly cheap. EPA involved now, they're afraid drinking water is gonna pollute the river, I guess. And it would cost a lot of money, but it would either way. But you're getting right in the middle of it, and you got all those homes there, and that'd be a lot of revenue coming in, a lot of revenue.
Well, one of the good things about, we got Congressman Jenkins' person here that's listening to us now. He's been real receptive to these projects that we get all before him and stuff, so, I'm glad you guys come down to this, so, because I think that is an area that, I know several years ago, there were people talking to us about that. When we were
Right.
talking about putting the Veterans Cemetery over there,
Yes,
and
yes.
upgrading that bridge.
Almost the same place where this.
Right, right, and so, I'm aware of that, and, I thank you all for bringing this down, because I think it's a matter, you've already approached the Logan TSB, and that's who we have to work through to get it done.
They did approve it, a couple of years ago, they did approve it. It hadn't went any further than that, but,
I had thought originally, to be honest with you, when they did that extensions through the Big Hearts areas there, that they were picking that up.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my thoughts at the time, but, we're gonna need to revisit that with them and see what we can do.
I'd say they pretty well circled it with
Right.
the water, and I don't know, I guess we're the target in the middle of it, I guess, but, but the Guyandotte River really terrorized me. Like I say, I've worked over 40-some years at water treatment plants and wastewater. I've certified both of them, and do some work on the side now, and I have done a lot of testing for the Guyandotte River, and, you name it, I've tested it, and about everything has come back positive. That's just the way it is. I know you got a lot of sewer plants now, but you got a lot is not. And you get that, and a little bit of everything goes in it, and all the construction and the mines and a little bit of everything. But, if you could help us in any way, it'd surely be appreciated by a lot of people. And I'll be number one on your list because I worry about those little kids. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Sharp.
I'd just like to thank the commissioners for allowing me a few minutes to speak. I've got some concerns. I like all our commissioners. I've been coming to the meetings. It allows us to be abreast of everything that goes on in the county. But, got a problem. We had a sewer meeting in Alum Creek. Not one commissioner showed up. Not one person, I don't think, from the health department, the EDA. We had one delegate show up, Michael Moffett. He showed up for about 30 minutes. And that was all he could stay because he had to get back to the Capitol for a vote. Now they had a big sign out there on the road. It was out there for 8 or 10 days. The meeting was on Thursday, March 11th. Not a church night. I mean, I know everybody's busy, but it's an important issue. They're gonna put the sewer system in. They're gonna start working on it. They sort of already got an idea for funding it, building a sewer plant. They've got 3 phases that they're gonna work on. But I was just sort of disappointed not to see any representation, because I was told when I moved to Lincoln County, and being from out of state, that one of the first things I heard, guy says, "You wasting your time going over to the commission talking to anybody about anything because they're not interested in Allen Creek. You won't get anything." And yet, I come over and I've asked for a few things and I've gotten help. The only thing I ever got turned down on, I think, really that I was trying to do was the recycling of the papers here in the courthouse. And I got that because of Mary. Because when Mr. McCann was here, he just flat turned me down. He says, "Can't be done." That's the wrong word to tell me it can't be done. Because I just push harder. So, I commend you all for what you do, but I guess that was an oops moment.
I did not know anything about it, did you?
It wasn't March 11th, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, has it?
Was it
Not
February?
March 11th, February
Okay,
11th.
that's why I said, and I wasn't aware of the,
If you could have Sharon or one of those girls over there call and tell Mary
Well,
and stuff.
Sean wasn't even there. Newspapers, you know.
Howland, I was at dance class with my daughter. I'm one reporter for the whole county. I do my best. Okay, I was at dance class with my daughter. Okay, so that's my excuse. I have
I
priorities.
didn't, to defend them, no one called the office. I didn't know about it, or I would have let them know. I didn't know at all, and I don't travel that way very often. We get car sick, so we don't go that way. But I
Just
didn't.
have them call us from now on when something.
If I'm not mistaken, they've got another meeting coming up. I think it's the last part of March. They're gonna talk about it again. With
Well, I was
some more,
under- I
some
was
more
under-
emphasis on it. They're gonna have more information.
I just thought that Commissioner Matthews had been working on that project. Yeah, and I'm not trying to put it off
Yeah.
on him, I was under the understanding that he was the one that was involved in that particular project. Because I've always been one to say, as long as we get people good water to drink, then we'll worry about the sewer later, you know, and I realize that those monies are different sets of monies, but, you know, you have to apply for federal monies for what we're wanting to do over there.
Well, they've gone far enough to find out that they don't wanna hook into South Ridge, or I mean to South Charleston or to St. Albans. It's gonna be way too expensive. And now they're looking for a location for the plant, and they need 5 acres, so.
So the last time I was involved, we were looking for a location for the water plant to make it bigger, you know, because the fact that was before the deal with West American Water came through and things like that. That's the last I know of, but like I said, I really thought that, in talking with Commissioner Matthews, that he had attended some meetings on that, even, I think, with the PSC, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, if anybody that showed up at a water meeting, a previous water meeting, they would have known about it.
Yeah, and I know he has.
Because it was talked about at the water meeting,
Right.
and I try to go to all those.
But I think it's very important over there for economic development for you to have that sewer system. I mean, but, you know, we have to look at getting those monies federally, I think.
Yeah, that's what they're looking at. They had the engineers and some other people there, and they pretty well got the direction that they want to go. Phase 1 is supposed to start over in Allen Creek and cover the section from about where the line is there, coming down Childers Road, over in that area by the funeral home, and come on up to 214 and go as far as the apartments. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is supposed to go from the apartments to McCorkle Road. Then phase 3 goes on up towards Marico. Probably not in my lifetime I'll see it, but
But they don't know where they're gonna put the plant or any of that.
no, we had some people there that were sort of ill. Gary and Vivian, or what's her name? Gary Smith and
Valerie.
Valerie, yeah. Because it seemed like somebody had made some preliminary plans, and it was right there on their property where their garden is. And she was sitting next to me, and I'm telling you what, she almost couldn't contain herself. She was livid, but, I mean, she was trying to reach her husband because he was on the other side of me. I don't know why I ended up between them. You know, maybe that was Jerry's way of staying out of reach or something. I don't know. But she was writing notes and passing to him, you know, say this, say that, don't say this, you know. But I just felt I needed to say something. I had a bunch of other people noticed it too. And
Thanks for bringing it to our
they
attention.
made the same remarks, so.
You let me know the next time and I'll let
I
them.
try to, but I can't be the town crier.
Mary's gonna keep us straight.
You let me know and I'll let them know when it is.
Okay,
Okay.
Could I
okay, thank you.
add a little something to that, if you don't mind? I've been to a couple meetings with the state DEP, and they are working on a project with EPA. It's part of the Clean Water Act that went into effect in 1972. Back then, they spent a ton of money building sewer plants and whatever. And now they call the upper Guyandotte, it comes down to about Mullins, or Milton maybe. And then the lower Guyandotte, all the way from there, all the way down to the Ohio River down Huntington. And they're, on the lower part, they have 32 streams that they're going to do testing of. And these streams, not all of them are industrial, a lot of them are just residential. But if they come in out of coordinates, and they couldn't tell me, I went to a meeting, they never could tell me what the parameters would be, but I'm assuming it'd be about the same as it would be at a sewage plant. You'd be BOD, total suspended, fecal coliform, all that sort of stuff. And when this kicks in, I don't know when, but they said it definitely will happen. Things like that is gonna be affected with it, without a doubt. Now, whether the federal government's gonna put a lot of money in, I don't know. I'm assuming they will, because it is part of the 1972 Clean Water Act. Thank you.
All right, Chad, you're next.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Chad Story with Congressman Jenkins' office. I'm the one you talked to on the phone. They went to PSD first, and they've done the study and all that, and as far as they told me they hadn't talked to you guys, so I asked them to come here and talk to you. So that's about the water project with CoCamp, whatever it's called. So I'm here today to talk about a couple of things. I'll be very quick. One bill that the Congressman has co-sponsored is called the Reclaim Act. It's revitalizing the economy of coal communities by leveraging local activities and investing more. Basically, what it does is bring $1 billion from the AML money, it's the Abandoned Mine Reclamation Fund. It would go to 5 states, start with $200 million a year up to 5 years. West Virginia is one of those states, and that would help with economic development on these abandoned mine sites. So I know we had some trouble working at Hobet Mine right now. That could be a potential place in some other areas. That's basically to foster economic development and bring some funds from federally in to help these struggling communities. He introduced that 1st of February. Hal Rogers, the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, is also a co-sponsor, so I think it's going to do really well in the House. And one more thing, Congressman Jenkins also he introduced last year something called the CRADO Act, and basically what that is, it establishes guidelines for it makes the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services set up certification guidelines for centers that provide services to babies that's been affected by what's it called, NAS. So these drug-addicted babies and infants, they'll have the guidelines now in place. They'll have to create those, like all hospitals has. They all have these guidelines they have to go by. Now they'll have to include these help for the infants too. Senator Capito has now introduced that in the Senate, so it's going to be going somewhere. We introduced it last year, so we're hoping that passage for that and the President signs that bill. In our area, we have a lot of infants that's born drug addicted, and this will help these hospitals be more prepared to take care of these kids. But we're really excited, definitely about the Reclaim Act. We think it's going to be going somewhere. That'd be $1 billion for 5 states, 200 million for 5 years for each state.
Hope it
Let's
does.
hope it does. So I think so. We have bipartisan support, and we have Hal Rogers as a co-sponsor. So he's over the appropriations. He's chairman of the Appropriations Committee. So that means good things for us.
And it kind of goes along the line with what Governor Tom would be proposed for the Hobet site.
Yeah, yes, sir. That's what it is. I mean, it's to be very, very honest, we were really disappointed when We didn't get approved for that grant, so we definitely, I know, had water projects, Lower Mud River and all those were included as were a lot of other projects. So we're hoping that this will get approved and we can bring some help for economic development in this area. So appreciate
All
it.
right, thanks, Chad.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we have, some folks here from the Safe Water. Okay, if you all could come up. We've had you on the agenda a couple times, I think weather. and
Yeah, I think the
everything,
weather
so
kept bumping us up.
We didn't get you on there tonight, so, or, you know, we could talk more. Under
Okay.
public comment, we're not really supposed to have a lot of dialogue, but.
Okay,
you
we
can-
could just
Yeah.
talk for 5 minutes and then
Okay.
do that. Okay. So first of all, thanks for having us. We're coming down from Kanawha County today and got to drive through Lincoln County, which I haven't gotten to do before. So my name's Katie Lauer, this is Martha, and we're both members of an organization that formed after the chemical spill called Advocates for a Safe Water System. And so we have a little bit of a statement, and I can just read some of that, and there's also some handouts that Martha's going to pass around. And I guess I want to start off by saying, I know that not all of Lincoln County is served by West Virginia American Water, and just a portion of it is, and so that's really the water issues that we're talking about and that our group works on. So we'll be another voice for water tonight. So just a little bit about our statement. We're members of the Steering Committee of Advocates for a Safe Water System. Our organization was founded out of community meetings that happened during the water crisis in 2014, when the Kanawha Valley's water system was contaminated by a chemical spill in the Elk River. We formed initially because we were outraged that West Virginia American Water was continuing to bill us for water that we couldn't drink. As the crisis unfolded, we learned more about the water system and found out that West Virginia American Water didn't have basic common sense things in place. They didn't know what chemicals were stored upstream, they didn't monitor the river for contaminants, and they didn't have a backup water source, which they still don't. We started advocating for the changes that we need to make our water system safe, and in the past 2 years have engaged hundreds of local residents through presentations, trainings, and public hearings in advocating for a safe water system. We successfully pushed the Public Service Commission to launch an investigation into West Virginia American Water's response to this spill, so we could learn about how the company responded and what they could have done better. And that investigation is ongoing. We also have been intervening in the 28% rate hike request. That's still pending, and we're expecting that decision in the next 10 days. This fall, we launched the Our Water campaign with the goal of creating a public water system to replace West Virginia American Water. And we're here tonight to talk to you a little bit about that campaign and what our thinking is behind advocating for a public system instead of continuing to be West Virginia American Water's customers. And I also want to say that we recognize that West Virginia American Water has been a partner in extending water service to rural areas. I live in Fayette County, and I know that they've, especially for families that are on well water, have made a big difference in terms of people's water access, and so don't want to minimize that contribution. But we're advocating for a nonprofit publicly owned system for a few reasons. One of them is that in our research, we've actually learned that public water systems tend to be much cheaper on the whole than private systems. And so for many of our families that are already cash strapped, it's a way that we could get better service for less money. One of the reasons for that is that the water company is owned by a parent company that's based in New Jersey. And so in this rate increase, for example, the majority of the increase actually goes to us paying for larger profits for shareholders and not actually increasing the investment in infrastructure in our system. And so we're going to be paying more money and aren't going to be better off. And so part of our thinking is, and what we've learned from our research is, if the water system is owned locally, we'll get to make decisions about where that money goes to and not as much of it will be going out of state. We've also learned that the water company has a 400-year main replacement plan. And so it would actually take, at their current rate of replacement, would take 400 years to update the system. And we're constantly doing main breaks, and so we get calls on a regular basis, especially over the summer, and in the town of Dunbar, who is having ongoing main problems. And the other factor is that we also hear from residents on a regular basis that they're getting bills that are way off base, that are hundreds of dollars more than the water they've consumed. And so there's been regular discrepancy about what people's bills are, which is what the water is that they've used. which has been an ongoing problem with the company. The research we've done has shown that actually in a lot of places in the country, public water systems are the norm. So in over 87% of the water service is actually public across the country. On the whole, those systems are cheaper, and that there have been about a dozen cases across the country in the last year where municipalities have bought out private systems and they've been municipalized.
So that's actually what you're trying to get.
Trying to do
Each
here.
town,
So the way that we've talked to some lawyers about it, and the way that it would work is that we would establish, the counties and municipalities would establish a regional water authority, and then that regional water authority would have jurisdiction over the water system in the Kanawha Valley. And so what we're trying to do right now is commission a study that would say, this is how much it would cost us, this is what it would mean for rates, here's how it would work in terms of governance, and sort of map out what it could be. And so we've been meeting with county commissions in Boone County and Roane County and Kanawha County, and also mayors to talk to them about would they be on board for doing a study like
I
this.
can't imagine the cost of doing that though.
Of doing the study?
Or no, of actually going to try to buy all West Virginia American water out, that would be,
Well, the way that we find that other places have done it, and especially this case in Florida, is that they've built the cost of the system into rates over time. And so there's this bonding structure, which is beyond my understanding of how local governments work. There's a bonding structure such that that municipalities don't have to front the money, but rather it's built into customers' rates over a period of time. And so our hope is that if we could commission a study, it could answer questions like that, like what does it actually look like, how much money do municipalities pay up front, et cetera. Because we've done a lot of research as a group, but we also are not water system experts, and so a study like this could help us answer some of those really basic questions about, is this even feasible here, and if it is, what would it look like?
so really at this point, you're just trying to get the study.
Yeah.
And American Water Company is it the largest in the United States? Second largest. I mean, and they're in 17 states. And West Virginia is not a good market for them. They came in here at the time when Dow and DuPont, Union Carbide, all these, there was a lot more people. And they said, oh, you know, this would be a good one to buy, we can make money. And now, you know, with the great departure of people from this area, they're starting to see that what they thought was gonna be a cash cow is not working out for them. And with the crisis that happened in 2014, the liabilities and a lot of the public reaction to what's going on and the job that's going on and what's happening, it may not be that hard to acquire. Maybe in the long run, you know, with the amount of work they have to do to get this up to speed or to function correctly, over a third of all the water going through the pipes is lost before it even gets to the meters at this point. They might be happy to, you know, but all we know is, and we never started to do this. We started just to make it safe. That's all we wanted. We just wanted safe water for our children and our families. And the more we work at it, the more we realize that wasn't their priority. And as long as they hold the reins, that really, they're showing no accountability in that direction at all. So this is just, we wanted to give you all a heads up to say this is what we would like to see happen, and we hope you would too. And we feel like for not only this system, but for the whole state, it could be the start of something great. One of the things we handed you was a study that just came out on the 16th. I mean, it's so new. It was done by Food and Water Watch on the 500 biggest water systems in the country. West Virginia only has 2. One's Kanawha, one's Huntington, and they're in red there in that chart. And, you know, although we seem to be number 49 or 50 at everything, when it comes to the amount of money we pay for our water, my gosh, we're number 11 and 12. We're way up there. We're paying, $710.63 average for 60,000 gallons a year. And then, when you look down at who's paying the least, it's Phoenix, and their rate's $84.24. There's just something wrong, when there's that much discrepancy about what it costs to have safe water.
I guess Flint's proof that you can pay the most in the country for it and still have bad.
Yeah, how about
Yeah,
that? They're number one.
It's the worst.
That's pretty sad.
Thank you all for coming. I'm sorry we didn't get you on the agenda.
Yeah, that's all right. I know it's been hard with the weather, but,
And if there's an economic development council or somebody you would like us to come and do a presentation, we would be glad to come back.
Okay, thank you.
thanks.
Good luck, guys. Okay, David Atkins.
I'm sorry to take up your time. I really don't have nothing to say now, because I didn't bring my paperwork, I've run away.
Well, what were you thinking? What was on your mind
Well,
tonight?
can you just put me on the agenda for next meeting?
Yeah,
No problem.
we can do
Then
that.
I'll discuss it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mary, make a note there. Okay, we had, under discussion and concerns, I had the Lincoln PSD on there, but that was something, as we kind of mentioned with Mr. Sharp, I guess it was probably maybe 2 years ago, Commissioner Matthews was appointed to kind of be the liaison between the commission and the PSD. So he's been kind of dealing with stuff over there, and there was a couple things I wanted to ask him. So since he isn't here tonight, we'll put him on the next, put the PSD on the next one. Also, and Mike Webb. Drawdown request.
Yes, it is. Mike Webb, Region 2 Planning and Development Council. I have the Small Cities Block Grant Drawdown request for Francis Creek Water, request number 17, and it's for a total of $15,420.36. And that includes one invoice for engineering from Neil Robinson for $12,498.90, and 3 invoices from Region 2 for admin services for $2,921.46. And we need you guys
Okay, yeah.
resolution approved.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept the drawdown request and give you authorization to sign the same.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
I thought the last time you were here, this was the last one for this, Mr. Webb.
No, that is for that's from small cities, not from you guys. That's for you guys.
No, this is wrapping up though, right?
Yeah, and on the second page, you'll notice the tank site work is completed and the line work is nearly completed. Basically, with final reports and everything from my end should be done by June 30th. Their work will be done probably by April.
How they come out on the money?
That's what I was gonna
They're in
ask.
good shape.
Is there gonna be any overrun money?
No, at this point, at this stage, no, it's on schedule and there are holdups we've seen at this point. So,
All right,
again, you guys, last time already, the 50,000 committed is
Right,
already, that
that's-
went through, so you guys are finished up as far as that particular project is concerned.
okay.
So when's the water getting turned on?
There should be no reason they would be past April, as far as getting stuff going,
And
as
what's-
far as any punch detail, punch list details at the end, if it's beyond that, it's something unforeseen at this point.
And we still haven't heard from the Small Cities Block Grants
No.
from Lower Mud.
Lower Mud, we are waiting to hear, literally, we may get a call tomorrow saying, be ready for announcements next week. It is that soon, before you guys meet again, you should know that.
Yeah, we got our fingers crossed.
Well, since the last time we met, I talked with Senators Perkindale and Delegate Eldridge about it too, and I know they've been wearing the governor's ear out.
Sure. But from the National Disaster Resilience Competition, everything literally just got backed up. It all came through the HUD, that's where the money comes from both situations, and when that didn't happen, everything backed up a month and a half.
Yeah, I think they were kinda waiting on that, aren't they? Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Vance, you've got a spot here somewhere.
We're just on that second page, I believe.
Yep.
The first page.
That's not it.
Yeah. This keeps you busy, doesn't it?
It does.
All right, there you go.
Anything else you guys have?
No, we're good.
Thank you, I'll bring
Okay, we have, 3 or 4 people here we've asked to come Do you wanna go do them or do the Tony Curve? We can get through these pretty quick. Does the Hearts Community Center wanna come up and do theirs first? I know you all have somewhere at a meeting. or-
Yes. We wanna thank the county commission for all the help that they've given us throughout the years for the community center in Harts, first at Pearlsburg, then at the Harts High School. I give you guys a copy of the things that we did in 2015. Refinishing the gymnasium floor, which we want to thank Parks and Recs for helping us with that. They helped us out with some money on that. We want to thank them too. We have put fingerprint locks on the men and women's weight rooms. And the weight rooms are in good shape. The treadmills and everything that we have that we've bought and purchased and put in there. We've had approximately 5 food giveaways. We replaced the old lighting in the gymnasium, which looks so much better. I mean, it done a great job. We have auctions now every Thursday night in the cafeteria. We have a group up there now called Brethren Ministries from Maryland. They are paying their own phone bills. All we have to pay is the electric bill. They're giving us $1,000 a month. They're there working on low-income housings. We had the group of the Appalachian Service Project, which Rick Hilton back here we was talking before. We have an application, a contract from them. All we're asking them to do is to come to one of our meetings so we can discuss some of the things that happened that we need to settle before we let them come back. We want them back because they gave us $5,000 last year for staying 6 weeks. We would like, they're supposed to be $6,500 this summer, but they want to sign a contract for 3 years. But like I said, there's some issues we need to iron out before we do that. Then we have fundraisers we have is like Lincoln County played scrimmage Mingo Central up there, and Chattanville 9th grade team come down and scrimmaged Lincoln 9th grade team. And that was a great fundraiser for us. We probably, I think we cleared between $800 and $1,000 at that event. We had a singing convention, which is not on here. We had a singing convention and it made some money, not as good as we would like for it to be, but we weren't advertised well enough. We had a Thanksgiving dinner for the community. We furnished the food for that. The turkeys for the giveaway, for the food giveaway at Christmas. We bought 100 turkeys, and the Huntington Food Bank purchased them for us and brought them with the food, and we gave all that away right before Christmas time. And our goals for 2016, we want to paint the gymnasium. For the simple reason is, if you look underneath there, new guttering around the gymnasium. But what happened, the ice last year came off the building and ripped the gutters off. It just took them off. Well, the water now is just running down the wall of the building, of the gym, on the outside. And it's deteriorating the block, and it's causing the paint to peel on the inside. So what we're gonna do, we need the guttering back, then we've got donations from people, well, I forget who, Danny Brown was the one that's getting the donation for the paint, to paint the gym. And one year we had a project with Lowe's. Last year we couldn't get it, this year maybe we can. They have a project that they will come and furnish all the material, and they will do the labor themselves. We got it at Furlsburg, but we haven't been able to receive it since we left Furlsburg. We're hoping that we can get it at Harts. We won't paint the hallways, anywhere that we need paint. And, like I said, the new guttering, and we have continuing classes up there. What I'm talking about is the gun class. We have having a food handlers class this evening at 5. We had a diabetic class. The health department comes up and gives flu shots, pneumonia shots. We have a beauty salon in the building, a photographer in the building. We have a game room in the building. We have bluegrass pickers on Friday nights. Every Friday night they're there. The rooms that we rent, the cafeteria, the kitchen, we rent those out for weddings, receptions. The gymnasium, we rent that out for birthday parties. We have the county day every Wednesday, which you guys know. And now we're having the welfare has got the project that they're establishing with us, workers. We have one right now. Hopefully we can get more. They said they wanted to place more there, so hopefully we'll get more of those workers. We have one guy right now, and he's doing a tremendous job as far as mopping, helping Glenn out, the groundskeeper, with keeping the place up. And I forgot to put on there, the Board of Education started giving us $833.33 a month. For the reason of that amounts, if you figure it out, and I think maybe one check, 1 month will be 37 cents or something. It comes up to $10,000 a year. And Murray knows, they write the check to her, to you guys, then she gives it to us. They do that because the middle school comes up and uses the gym for baseball, for softball, for basketball. And they use the weight rooms.
And you said you were getting $1,000 a month from this ministry all the time now? So they actually, somebody stays there with
Yeah,
them?
sometimes up to 40 people sometimes with there. They got 3 rooms, 3 big rooms, and they use the kitchen and cafeteria. They furnish their own food. They bring their own cook. 2 of them
When did
takes
they
care of
start?
that.
Last
They
time?
started. They started.
Is this a recent thing?
Yes. Last month we got our first check, and we got 1 check from them so far.
I have to commend you folks over there. You've done a great job of like being more financially independent. Unless you've been paying your own.
Well, the money is hard to get, and you guys know it with the economy the way it is. With the plans that we have and the group of people that we have on board, the board members, and Bertha, Doc's wife, is on the board. We have great board members if they don't care to come and help out whenever we got an event going on. That's what it takes. It takes a community that will come together and work as a community to pull something like this off. For a fact, I've got here is the signatures that we started putting a sheet at the door. This is not the gym, or this is not the 2 weight rooms. This is only the people that come through the front door for county day, for any other things that's going on, the beautician, whatever else is going on in the building. And there's thousands of signatures here, and this is for last year. We started this last year.
One of the reasons we had you all come, I think in the past couple of years, we've kind of lost communication with each other. So this kind of lets us know what you all are doing, and we have some idea who's utilizing the facilities and.
Jeremy is our treasurer, and he can tell you about our finances. I mean, he knows all about that. I try to get as much money as I can.
I'm not sure what you're.
I'm a bum, you know. No,
I'm
I
sure
ain't
you'll
good.
let us know if you get in a.
I was gonna say, I got records off from, I just went in and brought all 2015, everything that was deposited, everything was taken back out, and we are sitting with a balance right now of $6,364.63.
Good job. And this $1,000 a month will help a lot over there.
Well, we've got another check coming, right?
Yeah, you have $1,666.
You want a copy of that for us?
I can make you one, that's, I wasn't
We
sure.
wanna just keep it in your all's file as far as,
If you can just get it to Mary.
Would it be okay if I fax it tomorrow? I can
Yeah.
fax it tomorrow morning first thing.
Hey, one quick else thing I wanna ask real quick, and then I'll see if you're in. How are the fingerprint things working out? I
Good.
know you had an issue with people coming and going without,
Well,
is it,
it lets us know who's in the weight rooms. It lets you know if they paid about the computer, when they're entered in the computer. All it is $10 a month. That's all we charge. And once you walk up, they enter you, Jeremy or Stanley, enters them into the computer. And they go out there and enter them into the thumbprint. All you have to do is lay your finger on there, right on in. We got a camera setting there that's focused right on those two doors. That lets you know if you've got a buddy system that go on and somebody else goes through, you can back it up and see who it is that went through.
is that open how late? Is that like?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
I know you had some money requested here.
Yeah.
We'll, we set out in March and go through our budget and things, so we'll know more about it. I just wanna jump off, you guys are through with this part here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the Tony Curve here, about some other things, but I know I had asked you to check with the Chessie system about that crossing there and trying to get that on the state system.
Yes.
And you might want, I know there's some people, Tony, here, you might want to tell them what you found out so far.
They told me that as of right now, it is a private crossing. Once the road that's on the other side where Ronnie Tackett and Sheridan lives, told me that once the state adopted that road, then the crossing would be from a private crossing, it has to be to a public crossing. That they said they don't have a problem. CSX is being great. I mean, they will help you any way they can. They said all the thing is, it's on CSX, the road is. Then the first thing that popped up whenever I asked the question was, ain't that in Logan County? Ain't part of that in Logan County? That was one of the questions that was asked me. And I said, and Sherry was one asking me to see what we could do. And that's what I found out whenever I approached CSX. They said, ain't part of that in Logan County? I said, maybe so. I don't know where the line is there. But they said, well, it's showing a private crossing. Whenever that was put in, there was a resident over there, the only resident that signed it for it to be a private crossing. They said, but once it becomes a state road on that side, the state adopts it, then you have to make it a public crossing. And they said, this is no big deal. They can do that. They said that they'd be pleased to do it. Matter of fact, what she said everybody in the road needs to be worked on.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Anything else?
So, you're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Parks and Rec. Miss Evelyn.
I have to tell you, I'm a walker and not a speaker.
You don't have to worry about
She says that
this.
every time, and she's a really good
Yes.
speaker.
Well, I brought them three, but I'll probably give you more information of what you need.
We'll wait and see. Okay. And this on top is a picture of your new shelter you've been
Yes.
working on?
Yes. We got a lot more done than that picture, but I didn't wanna go back up in the mud right now. You wanted me to tell about the projects we have been involved in and
If
done.
you could just touch base on some of the main
Okay,
things you're doing.
on the second page there, this is projects we have helped with and that are completed. The baseball seating over to high school, we helped with that. McCorkle, picnic shelter, we helped with that. I have the amounts on there. McCorkle Parks and Recs with the Johnson fencing, we paid for the fencing around that. And Brim wrote us up with Garrett's Bend, the safety rails around the bleachers, so we had to get that done. That's the Williamson Contracting. The McCorkle Parks, that's the picnic tables that we bought to put under the picnic shelter. Lincoln County Baseball, that was, they built a shelter for their, we bought the blocks of cement and mortar, we pay no labor.
That was a storage building.
That was a
right?
storage building. And Garrett's been impact, we got rode up with that with brim, and we had to put the 6-inch fall zone, the 6-inch mulch. Branchland Parks, we bought tables, 2 tables, 2 benches, and they are installed, they look real good. Guyan Valley, we help with their scoreboard, we don't pay no labor. The Guyan Valley Baseball, that was with the storage building, we help with that. Lincoln County High School Wrestling, we help with that, no uniforms, no shirts, just equipment to help the kids. The Guyan Library, that's recreation, education, we bought a drop box out front with Parker Recreation name on it. The Hearts Recreation Center, we donated money for the floor, for the wax, they done the labor. And we work all over the county, and I went ahead and put what we have done with the resource conservation and development that I set on. This is the McCorkle drainage. It was $2,000 to help with that park and drainage over there. Garrett's Bend, where the water comes up and through the building so bad, they give us money to help clean that out. Guyan Valley Beautification, if you've ever been by Guyan Valley, they've done a real good outdoor, it's really just seed money. And then the next year we got the outdoor learning. It's the trees, the different species that they work on with the kids. And for next year I applied for shrubs and ground cover for the new library, and applied for an outdoor raised vegetable flower garden at Ranger Elementary. And the next one is just a list of the RC that Lincoln County has been involved in. Continuing projects, Garrett's Bend sent me a letter, I have it, what they have accomplished over there, but I don't know, it's in your. During the year of 2015, the community center was very busy. It was used by many families of reunions, birthday parties, showers. Several churches also used the facility for their annual picnics. The egg hunt was a success. The flea market was held in June to raise money for upkeep of the center. T-ball fields used the fields for practice and games. Gyms was used for basketball practice. Archery session, I'm not going to read all this. When the weather's nice, many families and their children play on the playground, and then they mentioned the mulch that we had to bring up to date. We had a couple of flooding. They did get flooded out, and FEMA covered the money to replace all the tile that come up, so they have got that done. And that is a little report that Helen Ruby sent me on the Garrett's Bend Center. Okay, Ranger Roadside Park, you know, it's still as if, we just have to do the upkeep on it. We still have churches, community using the shelter to come in with their groups, use it. And over on the community park side, we got the $10,000 governor partnership. We matched that. We always raise money and match this. This has been coming for 3 years, but we matched it. And you can see down below what we have in it. And that's about it.
All right, she did provide the audit and taxes, yeah. I did make copies.
Those of you that don't know, the commission kind of oversees the McCorkle Community Center and the Hearts, but the Garrett's Bend Community Center, the Parks and Recreation bought that, own it, maintain it over there, so that's why she was making reference to that, so you all did a good job over there.
we are all volunteer board.
See, that wasn't so painful, Evelyn.
Sheila, do you wanna add anything? Okay.
Oh, also, we have on the agenda under, new business to, do the budget revision to get you all your money that we owe you. We pay them our contribution through the franchise fee, and we haven't been collecting it regularly, but we have it now, so we'll have Daryl, his office can get you a check, probably cut tomorrow, Daryl, you think? Yeah. So we'll approve it tonight, and we can get your check to you. All right, thank you, girl. All right, we have Mr. Roberts back there.
Hello.
Hello, Dave.
I won't take very much of your time. I do have.
I think we've heard that before.
This one, actually, I'll give this one to, I guess, Mary. I got copies. And this is just a copy of the MOU we have in place that covers current fiscal year. It's the one on the back, that's the one that's signed. The one on the top just shows essentially what we're gonna be asking for, looking as we plan forward, because we're also in the process of planning next year's budget. I haven't had the opportunity to, we're doing it kind of backwards, because we haven't met with our Extension Service Committee yet. But what is on here is what I plan to propose to them, and then essentially bring. But it is essentially the same as it has been last year. I know last year when we came, we did look to see if we could increase funding for a couple different projects. Understandably, we was unable to do that. It was set to the same amount that it had been before. That's where we will be again this year.
I see you have Energy Express on here. Did they have that last summer?
We did not have the Energy Express. We looked right up to the point we was working to try and get a couple different locations. They fell through, so that's why I have, as we move forward, switched it over to that / summer programming. We're still trying to get it again this year. We looked at doing a couple, last year we had some different STEM activities or camps throughout the county, some of the different robotics programs. I really am a fan of the Energy Express program, so we're going to continue to keep trying to get that back in the county.
I guess
but
the
it's
issue
not.
was the facility, maybe, was that?
Well, that was, yeah, that seemed to be the big issue last year. And I thought we was on track to maybe be able to get a location this year, but just right now, we're not going to use the school. So, like I said, we're going to keep trying with that. The money that we have, and like I said, it's broke down. This supports 5 employees out of our office. While Jeremy Lawson is our 4-H agent, while he and I get to play with the Board of Agricultural or Economic Service Development some, our focus is positive youth development and healthy lifestyles. A large portion of our budget does go to, and you can see Energy Express was one, or summer programming and our summer camps. Last year we had, I believe, 115 that went to our county camp. And we do continue to go out of county, so we're along the county still. But I believe it was 115 that came with us last year. As far as in the 4-H world, we've had several new clubs start. Ranger starting one. There's one in West Hamlin. One in Guy Valley is starting for some of the middle schools. So we're starting to get more of the presence again of some of the, although they're kind of school-based, but community clubs and a presence throughout the county. On the healthy lifestyle side, a lot of times that we think about the physical health, and one of the diabetes classes that they spoke of at the Hearts Center, that was one that we was working with them to provide in the area. But in addition to just diabetes education and healthy lifestyles, we also look at the mental health. We do a lot of different seminars and classes on how to handle stress, anger, relationships, skills with a lot of different groups in the community. And then also even some of the financial health. And, you know, I'm by no means I'm not gonna tell you where to put money, but, we talked about just different ways to handle, essentially an introductory course into some different ways to handle our funds. Also in the office, we have a nutrition outreach instructor that works on a rotating schedule and hits every 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade student in the county and brings in a lot of different healthy cooking demonstrations, gives them a lot of information to try some different healthy options of foods. To complement that, we have an adult health educator that comes along and works with a lot of the parents. So we kind of hit both sides of that. And there's a lot of different cooking classes. Again, shopping on a budget, working with communities on how to find some healthier options in communities where we don't have a lot of, healthy produce. So, some of those classes will look at the dollar store and how can we find some of the healthier options in what we have available. So, those are just some of the things that we have going on. So we continue to bang away the best we can. If you have any questions, be more than happy to entertain them.
You do a great job breaking down your budget, so.
Are you gonna have it on at the end of the meeting or not?
Yeah, I'll be around.
Okay, because I want to bring up some of the things we talked about as far as recreation and things. And
Okay.
I'll talk to you.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks,
Thank
David.
you.
Okay, this Tony Curb, I think we have some people here from Tony Curb. Okay, this was brought to my attention actually at the post office last Tuesday. I didn't have a complete understanding till then about it. I went home, got on the phone, called Guy, called Daryl, called everybody. I've talked to everybody in Logan County in the past week. And we've asked our prosecutor to be here with us tonight to kind of bring us up to speed on what our options are at this point. I probably need to go into a little bit more detail of what's going on. We know, so we think everybody else knows, but there has been an issue over in the Tony edition of Hearts with the county line. And I think this all came up about 2012. We have maps here. Sean, if you would like.
I have one. Can you give it to me? Thank you.
This all came up around 2012, I believe, after the redistricting and this new mapping system came into place. It was, I think problems started coming up with the 911 center originally, correct? When people that lived over there would call 911 in Lincoln County, they were being told it was a Logan call, they'd call Logan, they would say it's Lincoln County. Is that? It automatically does now. But these people have always considered themselves, I think, members of the Hearts community, sent your kids to school at Hearts, have always paid and still do pay their taxes in Lincoln, have voted in Lincoln, for all intent and purposes, thought you were in Lincoln County till 2012. Then all this came up. So I have been in contact pretty much with everybody in Logan County, and I think we all agree that you all are Lincoln Countyans, and we're gonna get this figured out. Mr. Graypart, would you like to tell us how you think we should proceed from this point?
Well, this came to my attention about this time, 2014. And it was probably fueled by an impending election. And at that point, we didn't have one thing that I'm told we have now, not that it couldn't have occurred, but at least it was unknown to me at that point. And that is, I've been told that Logan County is perfectly happy and willing and ready to sign off on whatever they need to change the county boundary.
I've talked to them pretty much every day since last Tuesday when I was made aware of this, and we called today, Mary did, to their county administrator up there, and one day, hopefully the first of the week, we're all gonna sit down our assessor, clerk, you, if you could be available. The judge has to be here, all their county commissioners and all their people are gonna come and we're all gonna sit down, so everybody knows that everybody's on the same page with it. So there's no down the road, you know, I think we all feel from all of them that everybody agrees, but I think we all need to get together just to kind of finalize it and proceed.
I can tell you the judge is not gonna be here, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Okay.
and I don't know about Friday, but I know that much.
We'll try for Monday then. We'll try to
Yeah,
get ahold of them,
and-
because they want this resolved too.
And as you might expect, because of the fact that he's only gonna be here Monday, the court schedule is pretty bad. But, if they're agreeable, you know, it's simply a matter of me having the information I need to draft a petition, you know, which is a lawsuit, but it's gonna be hopefully an agreeable lawsuit that will be filed with the circuit court, and it can be filed in either Lincoln or Logan. So hopefully they won't care, we'll file it here.
That's what they want us to do, so.
And, once it's been filed, if they file a response, indicating no disagreement or, you know, agreement, an agreed order can be drafted that all parties sign off on, the judge signs off on, and it's done.
So do you feel like that, based on what I'm telling you, if even if you need to call some of them just to touch base, if we can't make this meeting happen because of the time constraint, do you feel comfortable in going ahead and drafting the order, letting the judge sign it? If you would speak to
Well, of course,
their,
what I have to draft first is the petition.
Right.
That's where all of the facts are set out. And while I have a general familiarity, I don't have specifics and I don't have details, and I'm not a surveyor and I don't know GPS.
we have agreed, off the record in talking to their commission, that the river should be the line. I mean, it would be pretty simple. There's a farm there that they felt like was in Logan anyway. Just follow the river, everything on our side of the river is Lincoln, the other side's Logan.
But I'm thinking we'll probably need more than just a verbal
Right.
description of follow the river. And so as soon as we get those,
Nothing is that simple,
Well,
is it?
well, you know, it's like the old deeds that said from a rock to a tree to a stump, whatever, that's okay, you know, but far preferable is coordinates and degrees and feet and those things.
There's a lot of issues here that these people are dealing with. Do you or the one with your house insurance that, I mean.
No, this is, the one I talked to was Shirley Harless.
Like, they can't even get house insurance because they can't designate which county they're in.
Why, they're gonna, basically, the way I understand it, where they can't, they don't have a 911 designation that matches the house, then the insurance won't cover the house, which means they default on their loan. And, that was her main concern. That's why I think there's kind of more of a sense of urgency than what there may have been before.
And I understand, and I'll say, you know, right off the bat, when I started my term, I didn't know, really have even an impression of, you know, how much there was to do, and frankly, how much wasn't getting done. And that's not intended as a knock on my predecessor, it's a statement of the reality of the situation. And so my job description is largely firefighter. You know, whether it's a set fire or spontaneous combustion, there are fires all the time. And some of them get out of control, and then you try and get them under control, and you fight the fire that's the hottest. Now, everybody's familiar with the squeaky wheel getting the grease and so forth. And frankly, this has been on my desk for 2 years, largely covered up at all times because I never get it down to where my desk is clean. And because it was out of sight and out of mind and there had been no further follow-up or communication, it's been sitting there. you know.
We're squeaking now.
I
We're squeaking
understand.
now.
Yeah, I think the last time I was here, it was called front burner. It needs to be put from the back burner to the front burner. You know, I understand that. And if we have their agreement, cooperation, and I get assistance from the assessor, county clerk, the other parts of the equation, and we don't run into any unforeseen stumbling block, it's something that could happen in a matter of days.
This is, you mentioned the election in 2014,
It would
maybe.
have been right.
This is the problem that some of those folks are running into, and I think that as the younger people, when they go to register, say at the DMV, it's getting pretty high. Is it realistic to think that we could get this done by the 19th of April for those folks to be able to vote?
Sure.
Let me ask you a question. It's my understanding, as long as you're in conversation with Judge Hope, he wouldn't necessarily have to be there at this meeting.
I mean,
Because you'll be the one drafting the petition, right?
Yeah, you know, and I'm not sure that everybody at any meeting would, you know, even be necessary for that matter. But it would probably save a little time, me running to the assessor, running to the county clerk, running to 911, running to law enforcement, and everybody that this will impact, and, you know, try and get them together. That would be a good thing.
so even if we could get the Logan County people here Monday, we're all here Monday, so if we could just all sit down with you, that would help expedite this.
And you know, I'm not, I'm happy to have anybody that wants to be there, but the people I need are the people that have the factual
Yeah,
information that I need to draft the petition, so, and, you know, it may be that that's only one or two people, or it may be that those two people would say, well, we need something from someone else, and so forth.
I think we all understand the importance of this at this point, so,
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's a matter of, you know, having talked to those people, like with you, I think they're really, this is something that's, you know, we need to act on as soon as we can, so, and basically, confirmation of what we've told you today would be all you'd need to get as far as them being in agreement with what we want to do.
I mean, I'm assuming for the sake of the proposition that we can get this done quickly, that whoever you communicate with meant what they said, knew what they were saying, intended it, and will follow through with it. But that's the only thing that would delay this. You know, it's basically probably a day, which I don't get, you know, an empty day very often, and so I may have to hit at it, you know, off and on, but probably 10 hours of my time, it being filed with the court, served on the proper parties, you know, getting their response, and then, you know, drafting an order that would have to be circulated and signed by the judge, entered with the court, and that can be done.
But just a question of procedure.
Yeah.
If you met with one of the commissioners, we wouldn't have to advertise it or anything of that nature.
Oh, well, now that's a whole other matter.
Well, that's
which is-
what I was
Yeah,
questioning.
which is separate from, you know, me getting the information, getting it drafted and filed. Now, and I'm thinking out loud because that's something I hadn't thought about, which is, can the commission vote and direct the filing of such a petition which has not actually been drafted and reviewed and approved in its form, you know, that would be filed in? When is the next county commission meeting?
Well, it'd be 2 weeks, that's the reason I was kind of.
Well, it's probably not gonna get done before 2 weeks anyway, as far as the drafting and filing. So, I mean, I would put it on the next agenda for review and approval and be optimistic that I'll have it done by then.
that's what we'll do.
And then what we'll have to do if more than one of us meet on that, we'll have to notify the public 48 hours in advance that we're meeting with them, so.
Well, I'm assuming you're talking about a public meeting.
If we all sit down together.
Oh,
That,
He's
you know,
concerned
the
about-
law basically says if we meet for that, we
Yeah.
have to advertise 48 hours in advance, and
And
I
I'm
don't
not
have no
suggesting
problem.
that you don't, that you shouldn't be there, or that I don't want you there, but I don't know that,
It's necessary.
that there's a, I don't know what factual information you would have that the assessor and county clerk and 911, those people.
Well, that's basically what I was thinking, is that the information you need from those particular
Right.
individuals. We basically give you the information right that we have, you know, so, I mean, unless there be some question about that, because I think we're all in agreement that, you know, as quick as you can get that done for us, these people really need it done, and the problem I have is there's that one lady, sometime in the next 2 weeks is when her insurance needs to know something, so
It was actually the 15th, but,
the 15th was,
but I mean, just let our meeting
But,
finish.
which, you know, we could potentially, I mean, we have this, on the agenda as far as possible action. I think the commission itself, this besides you, but we need to send, find out who her insurance is or whoever and say this is before the commission and we're acting to correct it so she can have, and ask them not to cancel her insurance and you know, repossess her house or whatever they do. I mean, because they need to know we're acting on it. And I
Yeah.
think if it comes from us, then it would help her, I think, as far as the line until we can get this done in the next meeting.
Jim, do you think that's something you feel comfortable with us doing for this lady? To say, did you hear what he said about sending a letter to this lady's insurance to say that we're in the process of acting on it so they don't foreclose on her? I mean, could we? should you think-
Foreclose?
Well,
Well,
she has
no,
the
no,
loan.
as far as
that's-
what the letter would say, we just want to notify you that we are correcting the situation as far as 911 addressing at her location, and that it will be done in the near future.
Because
Well-
she had to have something by the 15th.
Yeah, I would be careful about what you say, because, you know, again, you'd like to take people at their words and all those other kinds of things, but until, that what you could say is that you're filing a petition to change the boundary of the county to encompass, you know, this property, and remove the impediment to 911 issuing, you know, an address or whatever. And we anticipate a favorable resolution, and, you know, it'll be, you know, beyond that, again, we're dependent on Logan County signing off, we're dependent on, you know, the judge signing off, well, not signing off, Logan County signing a response to the petition as well as an agreed order, and the judge signing it. And none of that seems like there should be a problem, but again, none of those things do you have complete control over, so, if the way I just suggested it to you will do the trick, that's what I would do.
My motion, we go ahead and send them a letter based upon what we just heard from the prosecutor on those same lines.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor?
Oh,
Aye.
yes.
Okay. Another thing while we have you here, Jim, did you have a chance to the Branchland Park, the deed?
Got the deeds here.
You do, yay.
I don't know that the deed from, Lincoln County Parks and Recreation back to Branchland Lumber is actually necessary, because there was a reversion clause in the prior deed. But it's a convenience to anybody that might do a title search to follow the chain of title and see that it went from Branchland Lumber to them. And if there were, the next deed were a deed from Branchland Lumber to the county, they would say, wait a minute, how did they get it back? And you could include language in the deed that would say it reverted because they ceased to use it. But I think Parks and Rec preferred that there be a deed done, so I've drafted a deed.
Okay, so there's a deed giving it back, and
And,
then a deed.
and of course, that has to be executed by Lincoln Parks and Recreation. If you want me to give them that deed, I'll give them the deed. If you wanna keep the two together, but,
Just gonna keep it together and then we'll follow, get them.
okay, so you have deed number one, I've numbered them, would be executed by Lincoln County Parks back to, Branchland Lumber. Deed number two would be then from Branchland Lumber to the county commission.
Thank you, Jim.
One question I have as far as county boundary. A description of the property. Jim, are you saying that has to be a survey description, or can it be a general description? You start at a point, following the river, leaving the
Well-
river and going back to the county line? Because if this is something that has to be surveyed,
That
the
would
map that we drew up at the
substantially-
office is approximately 35.5 acres. And even to determine where the county line is exactly, a surveyor doing that would almost be impossible, because that was done back in the 1800s. Does it have to be a survey?
So are you saying that, you're saying that we don't exactly know where the county boundary?
No, we know where it's at based on the USGS map, but where that's at on the ground may be a different story. It may be here, maybe 20 feet, 30 feet different than what it would be on a map. Does it have to be a survey description? Or can it be a general description?
As long as Lovely County didn't want one, I wouldn't think we'd have. I mean, if they're in agreement, that follows the line of the river, you know what I mean? I don't,
Yeah.
you know, and I know what you're saying too,
Yeah.
and I'm not, but I would think that that would be a problem if they didn't agree to do that, you know.
Well, from my perspective, that'd be one of the things we can talk about.
Okay.
I don't think the county line has been moved in over 100 years, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Well, Logan County and we had a little thing.
That wasn't
there.
even moved.
I know, well, I know, that's what here. Just, any of the residents from up there wanna speak about this, or you all understand what we're talking about?
Yeah, we all understand
Okay,
what
okay.
you're talking about. But all the problem we have is when we call 911, it goes into Logan, and they said, no, there ain't nothing we can do, we gotta transfer you to Lincoln. And obstruct or anything, they don't know where we live.
And hopefully all those will be resolved with what we're trying to do, hopefully we'll get down there.
The thing that would concern me about a survey would be, if you could get a survey, and how long it would take to have that done. You're probably looking at 3 or 4 months minimum, $10,000-$15,000.
Well, and, you know, somewhere along the line, I think, the judge may have to make some decision about some of that, because we're getting into election time too. You know, we need to kind of have this resolved before the election and things of that nature.
But if we could do a general description.
Right. Well, and I think the whole thing of it is, that's about all we've had before, you know what I mean? I mean, if you look at it, we wouldn't have been in the problem we are now. This come about, you know, with the invention of the technology of the GIS, I think, you know, I don't think that was a problem before people knew about it.
Well, 911 is the one reason had the aerial maps, so.
Like I told him a while ago, I lived there since '76. Dad bought the piece of property in '86 and built a home there and lived there since '68 and lived there since '69, you know. It's Furl's real estate, you know, he bought it off of.
You know, we lost our high school up there, I'm not willing to give up more land, you know what I mean? It's really not something that I think is,
Yeah, well,
I think it's important to maintain the integrity of that community, you all live there together.
Yeah,
you
he
know,
put it
pay
on
taxes
Lincoln
here and
County
things like that.
property, you know, Lincoln County then, you know. That's where it was deeded to then.
Now, have you set on a date, or are you gonna try to get,
I will call them tomorrow, because I was supposed to call their county administrator tomorrow and touch base with him on what happened tonight. So I will talk to him tomorrow, get a handle on it, if he thinks we can get something together, if he even thinks it's necessary, or just to proceed.
well, I think there would have to be some confirmation to
Well,
do
yeah,
that.
I mean, if you wouldn't want to call them yourself just for your own, I'm telling you, I have talked to everybody in that Logan County courthouse, between me, Guy, and Darryl, we've probably talked to them all 2 or 3 times. But,
Well, and, you know, I'm sure they meet like you do a couple times a month, but presumably, if they haven't, they would have to take official action with regard to their response.
they have a private counsel that they consult with things, outside of their prosecutor, and they were supposed to hear something.
Most counties do, actually.
Yes. They were supposed to hear something from him today. Now, he did not get back with us
Brian
today, so,
Abraham.
yeah. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name, Brian. So, maybe tomorrow, Brian, we'll give them some, we'll have more. So I'll let you know tomorrow what I find out. Okay, the Bluegrass Festival is on here, and I'm glad it's on here. I don't know that we can act on it tonight until we get into the budget, But can you, because Parks and Recs is here, and you can maybe give us a better understanding of how that's happened in the past?
Okay, and this would be the 18th if we have it. And I say it that way because I did ask for it to be put on the budget, on the agenda in September, as I had for many years. And we're just reaching a point time-wise where if it's gonna happen, plans are really behind being made. And
Now, you have this in June, right?
it's for the last,
Doesn't it kind of go with the fishing tournament date?
well, until last year, I guess, first 8 or 9 years, it was in late August, and it was 95 degrees and thunderstorms and all the rest of that. So we moved it to the first weekend of June about 7 or 8 years ago, and had record 90+ degree temperatures. But we've had some nice weekends since then. Last year, the city of Huntington started a big festival the same weekend, and that's a little close for an event like we've been putting on and like they were putting on to be the same weekend, so we moved ours to the second weekend in June. Now, I think the fishing tournament had already been set for the first weekend in June, and that it took place the separate weekend, but always in the past they had been done the same weekend.
I know sitting on the Parks and Rec board, they pay, do they pay some of your stuff for that, run through them?
Well,
What is that?
the majority of the funding for a lot of years, had been, and to what extent still is, I don't know, run through the state grants for fairs and festivals, and the money had been granted and awarded to Parks and Recreation, I think, but the county commission has always acted as, the ultimate conduit for that funding. So the grant, I believe, in many cases, it was reimbursed after the event, at least as I recall from Judy. It would come in after the event had occurred. They would have fronted the money to Parks and Recreation, and then a certain percentage of it would come in from state grant. It was early on, I think, Budget Digest money maybe, and then at some point, it became fairs and festivals. But from my perspective, Parks and Recreation is the one that prepare, the contracts or the receipts and the checks and the W-9s and all that kind of stuff. And, then at the event, I'm, making sure I get the signatures and the proper W-9s and those things, and I give them back to Parks and Rec. Beyond that, my big thing is just organizing the groups and organizing, the actual event, not, who's paying for it and what proportions or any of the rest of that.
I
So,
apologize for not knowing, but is this, are you all still applying for the grant to cover
We
that?
never did. Our director did, but we never did. Judy did.
So is this something
This
we've
is
done in
something
the
the
past?
county commission did.
It originally was the Budget Digest and its community partnership grants, I think.
If it's like the community partnership grants you get at, they've told us that there's no more money there now.
There's not. We,
So
this
we haven't
was, the one
applied.
we got was for 3 years.
Yeah, the ones that,
time ago.
any money you've been getting was an old grant,
So,
an old grant.
yeah.
Okay, well, we'll have.
but it was in actual, that was many years ago. Yeah, I'm talking about fairs and festivals grant money, like I've seen in, a prior meeting, there was an issue about 4th of July, Lincoln County 4th of July grant, but going to, it said Hamlin 4th of July, and money was going to Fairs and Festivals Commission at Sweetland or whatever, that's, I think, a Fairs and Festivals grant mechanism. The Lincoln County Bluegrass Festival used to be a part of that. If it's not anymore, I don't know why, but there used to be a grant that came through that same.
Not Budget Digest money, but fairs and festivals.
Right.
Maybe we
Yeah,
can
it was
look into that.
denominated separately in that.
Jack, you know the answer to that, wouldn't you? Didn't you apply for the fairs and festivals money through the, and then we administrate it to you guys or not?
The fairs and festivals grant comes from the state,
When you applied for it yourself,
Yes.
didn't you? Okay.
And somebody, whoever, I don't know the process, I just know that I remember when the list of those grants came out, the Lincoln County Bluegrass Festival was one of the events that got money for that. Now, if that's fallen by the wayside at some point, I don't know, because it certainly would be, make a difference in the feasibility, particularly at the level that it's at, if there were some grant funding. But, yeah, from my perspective, it's, the county spent $50,000 building a stage out there. It would be a shame to walk away from that and not have the event. A lot of people attend it, and a lot of people would be disappointed. But from my perspective, I just have to have an answer to have time to plan the event, and we're really behind. So if it's not something that can be addressed now, I'm not sure,
I mean,
how
we'll
good.
start the first week of March doing our budget, so we'll know something.
I mean, if we're talking a couple weeks, a month is really crunching, and
We need to look into this grant too in the meantime and see how that's spelled.
how it happened, in years past, but
No, you don't charge anything the day?
not for the public. No, there's no admission cost. And at one point, there was some question about whether, and this goes back 17 or 18 years when they started, whether it could be done, because it was, in a public facility and so on and so forth. But, I mean, I see other events, of a similar nature in places where they do, and even if they are a state park or they're a public facility or whatever. But if you impose a significant fee, admission fee, then there's going to be a substantial portion of the population that won't and or can't. A lot of the people that come are, like a lot of our residents, low income, and they may bring the whole family, and so if you ask for even $5, but let alone 10 or something more reasonable for the entertainment, it would be something that they just couldn't afford. But
All right, well, thank you for the deeds, and thank you for your insight on our Tony Curve situation.
I was just gonna make a statement that this is like going for the back burner in front.
This
Okay.
Bluegrass Festival's on the front one?
Okay, all right, thank you, sir.
Okay, next on the agenda is to review and appoint someone to the Hamlin PSD. This posting technically did not come down till noon today, that's why we have it listed like this. But it is on here to appoint Mr. Sean tonight, so we're going to go ahead and swear you in.
All right.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, we need to do that,
Yeah,
don't
I'll
we?
make a motion, we appoint Sean and Donnie to the Hamlin PSD.
I'll second that. So we're all in favor.
Oh, wow, thank you.
And Daryl's going to, do the honors.
Signature for the local paper.
One question concerning this, when I was chairman on the board, we would always swear in the new member at our first meeting.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
want to swear him in?
No, whoever's the chairman at the PSD now, they would always swear the new board member in at their first meeting.
That's fine.
Does it matter?
Not that I know of, but that's what we always do.
Destroy that.
He wants to be official.
No, it's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So close.
We don't want them to think you're somebody special.
No. Thank you.
Okay, on unfinished business, we have the Regional Day Report Center who sat here patiently through this very long meeting, waiting on us to sign this. Okay, it is on there we have it on the agenda to sign your MOU, and you had it. Do I have a motion for us to go ahead and get this?
I just wanna make a few comments. I've been looking at the numbers in other counties and things like that. I asked Mary to get those numbers for me and things of that nature. And, it is our intention to go ahead with this memorandum of agreement tonight, but we would encourage, and we are encouraging all people that we give monies to, that, it's real hard for us to cut positions here in this courthouse and maintain a full staff, but I do understand the importance of your all's work. And I just wanna kinda give you the heads up that next year, we may be asking what you, if possible, what you've done as far as addressing those things, okay? I mean, it's not, you know, I don't like any time the day we do something to say this, but, you know, it's something we have to look at from our end, and we would ask you all to look at it from your end, and if there is anywhere that we could save money as a county, we would ask for you guys to try to help us with that, okay? With that, I'll motion we go, we're gonna do all with this new
No,
business or
it's
separate?
unfinished, so it's.
Okay, I'll motion we go ahead and enter into the memorandum of agreement with the regional day reports.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Doc, I did have a pretty lengthy conversation today with Mary, and I think we have maybe noticed some anomalies with the jail bill that we're gonna look into.
I sure
See if we can't find, because,
You're welcome to help us
as I
out.
told Mary, and, you know, while I don't see the monthly jail bill, I have monitored the jail population for probably close to a decade. I do something similar that what, Logan pays a guy to do, Boone pays a guy to do, Cabell pays a guy to do. I've been doing for Lincoln County for about a decade. So, you know, and we talk a lot about the jail bill, but the jail bill, the reality is, the jail bill is not the problem. The jail bill is the symptom of the problem. You know, we back up, the jail bill's high because JJ arrested 8 people today, or whatever it was, or this week. 6 people, I'm sorry. JJ arrested 6 people today because we got a heroin and opiate problem. So we gotta keep backing up, you know, addressing the symptom is not gonna cure the problem, just like in medicine.
But we do appreciate the job this program does, as you guys know, I've been a big supporter of it. But I think with anybody we talk to, we're gonna say, can you next year kind of be aware that we may not have the opportunity to fully fund this thing like we wanted. We will try all we can to do it, but I think it's, as we've said before, it's one of the biggest problems our county faces is the addiction problem we have with people and stuff. And I think the only way to get rid of that problem is along the line of what you're doing, instead of throwing everybody in jail and forgetting about them, and they get out and they get right back in the same situation. And I'm making efforts with the medical society and things of that nature to talk with them about interacting with the judicial system a little better and have, because a lot of the doctors are just afraid of the judicial system because of the way that the laws are written and how they can be targeted for things of that nature. And I think that's stuff we need to work with and try to get us all working on the same page.
And I also wanted to just tell you that since the last time I was here, and in talking with the other county commissions in the other counties, everybody seems to be in the same boat financially, unfortunately. But I have been working with the DJCS and the Supreme Court to try to find some ways to help take the burden off of the counties. And we do have some projects in the works, but nothing set in stone yet. But I do want you to know that I have been working on that, and I'm hopeful that even in the next few months, we can make some change in that area.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you
The
so much.
Supreme Court has put in about $250,000 for Lincoln and Boone the last few years, and they're telling us the same thing. That
Do you want to take this and just copy it and give a copy back to Mary? It's only
Send me a
10
copy.
minutes. He doesn't have to, he wasn't here.
Two of the
Just
three.
two of us.
Two of the three
Okay.
makes
Yeah,
it.
works for me.
You want me to- okay, yeah, I'll
When
sign
you
it.
sign it, then you send me the signed copy, how's that?
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you very much.
Have you had a chance to look over the new business? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the new business as it's listed on the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second that. We're all in favor. Do you have anything you want to say after all of that?
Just real quick, is Dave still back here?
He's asleep.
Oh.
Wake him up, Larry.
Dave and I had a conversation the other day, and I won't go into it in any detail because we are running so late, but it's his thoughts that with the loss of the Hatfield-McCoy trail system, that the county may want to look at developing their own trail system. And this has been something, having served on Hatfield-McCoy's board of directors for a long time, I kind of thought we needed to do it anyway before we got the system because they weren't moving quick enough. Now that they don't have the system, I think we need to look at what trails we have available and work out deals even with the people that own the land that they might, because most people like me, I have 100 ATVs through my land every summer day, but what we can offer along the same line as Hatfield-McCoy, we could offer some indemnity or protection for the landowners if they'll allow us to designate where they're already traveling across as one of the trail systems things. So if something does happen on their land, they won't be held liable for anything. But this is in the early stages of thinking, and I think, I just want to bring the commission's attention that I think this is a viable alternative, and we talked about bike trails and things of that nature, and if it's okay for the commission, I'll go ahead and get with Mr. Roberts and get brainstorm some ideas and get back for the commission about what we might be able to do, because I think when we look at economic development, this will be a big plus for us, because the Hatfield McCoy would have been a big plus if it can maintain itself, but we need a system that has areas in all areas of the county where people can ride and ride safe. And, but we'll, if it's, if the commission's okay with it, I'll sit down with him and I'll get him with Jeff Luss, the head of Hatfield McCoy Trails. And they don't like competing systems, but if they're not willing, or if they can't put a system here, then they ought to be willing to help us set us up one so our people can enjoy it too. That's all I have.
Mary, was there something else I told you that hasn't been mentioned, or have we? Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn until the 3rd? Is that right? Yeah, March 3rd?
So moved.
Okay. I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.